The queen of high school mops my office floor now. If you told 16-year-old me that one day the reigning queen bee of our high school, Vanessa Green, the same girl who once told me my thrift store sweater was a public health hazard, would mop the floors outside my executive office while I sipped an overpriced oat milk latte and approved budgets with more zeros than my teenage self could dream of, I would have laughed. Or cried. Probably both. But here we are. And no, before anyone asks, I didn't rub it in her face. Not right away, at least. Turns out, success really is the best revenge, but fate, oh, she's got the best sense of humor. But let me back up a bit. I'm Elena Hartley, 30 years old, manager of a team of 20 amazing people. Projects I've spearheaded have been featured in fancy online magazines I never even read because, well, imposter syndrome and whatnot. My apartment has a view of the skyline, my parents are taken care of, and my siblings know they can call me if they need anything. Sounds great, right? Well, it is. But it wasn't always this way. Because trauma, ladies and gents, is like that weird last onion ring in your fries. You think you're done, but there it is, lurking. And mine? High school. Or, as I like to call it, for years of hell with fluorescent lighting. I wasn't popular. I wasn't rich. Picture Molly Ringwald in Pretty in Pink, but if she also had 2 younger siblings to help raise and clothes from the local donation bin. My parents worked hard, but couldn't compete with the mini Kardashians that strutted through the halls of our high school. Vanessa Green? She was the queen bee, the Regina George, the crown jewel of tormentors. I wasn't even important enough to be the main target most days, just the ugly duckling side quest when she needed to entertain her minions. She called my shoes a crime against fashion, once publicly asked if my hair was greasy or if it was just the lighting. Spoiler, it was the lighting, but my shampoo budget wasn't exactly generous either, and told everyone I probably lived under a bridge. It hurt, yeah, but I pushed through. I worked hard, kept my head down. I didn't go to prom, didn't go to graduation. I didn't want their fake smiles in my memories. But here's the kicker. You think you've outgrown that stuff, right? You move on, you get therapy, you wear your success like armor. Until something rips it all wide open. For me, that something was a stupid Facebook post. A class reunion photo. Vanessa posted it with the caption, "The best years." Barf. I wasn't even in the main shot. Just a blurry face in the corner, half cropped out. But that was enough. Enough for some troll in the comments to zoom in, screenshot my face, and ask, "Who's the ugly duckling?" LOL. And Vanessa, oh, she still had that queen bee bite. She replied, "That's Elena Hartley. Total disgrace to the school. Probably scrubbing toilets somewhere now." Reading that hit me harder than I expected. Like body slam from the ghost of teenage insecurity. I'm 30. I've got my life together. But right then, it felt like I was standing in that cafeteria again, holding a lunch tray, praying no one would notice the hole in my sweater sleeve. I didn't reply. Not because I didn't want to, but because I couldn't. I closed the app, stared at the ceiling for what felt like an hour, and realized something. I wasn't healed. Not really. I thought I'd moved on. I thought the degrees, the job, the city skyline view, the wardrobe upgrades, they'd all buried that past. But one comment, one screenshot, and there it was. Right back at the surface. It was going to take more than success to kill that demon. And fate? Well, she wasn't done with me yet. After that little stroll down memory lane from hell, aka Vanessa's Facebook page, I spiraled for a solid 24 hours. Not a full-blown meltdown, mind you. I'm a grown woman, I have deadlines and bills and an aloe vera plant that I haven't killed yet, small victories, but let's just say my comfort food order history could tell you I wasn't in a good place. And as I ate my feelings in the form of pad thai, I had to sit with this ugly truth. I was still angry. Angry that after all this time, Vanessa still held that power. Angry that my success hadn't burned that bridge to ash like I thought it would. And most of all, angry that I didn't clap back. But hey, they say revenge is a dish best served cold, right? Or, in my case, served with a side of lime wedges and extra peanuts. So, I decided to let it go. I really did. I muted Vanessa, deleted Facebook for a bit, threw myself back into work because if there's one thing that's never let me down, it's spreadsheets and project deadlines. And wouldn't you know it, life rewarded me for my adulting. About a year later, I got the promotion. The one I'd been chasing like some corporate Indiana Jones. I landed my dream role, managing a whole division, my own corner office with floor-to-ceiling windows. And yes, I had that dramatic moment where I stood there, coffee in hand, staring out over the city like I was starring in an HBO drama. Cue the moody synth music. I was thriving. New apartment. New wardrobe, no more discount bins for me, Vanessa. And the best part? I could finally support my parents in ways I'd always wanted. I even took my siblings on a trip. Me, the girl with the second-hand shoes, now footing the bill for Disneyland churros and overpriced mouse ears. I felt good. Whole, even. I convinced myself I was healed. And then? The universe said, "Oh honey, you're not done yet." It was a regular Tuesday. Aren't the best stories always born on the most boring days? The toilet on my floor at work broke. First world problems, I know. But when you've got back-to-back meetings and your coffee intake is rivaling a frat party kegger, finding a working restroom becomes a quest. So, I ventured down to the floor below. No big deal. Until it was. I push open the bathroom door, and there she was. Vanessa. Freaking green. Except, this wasn't Vanessa in her Instagram glory, no curated lighting or Eurotrip selfies. This was Vanessa in a cheap pink polo, overdrawn eyebrows, and the kind of eyelashes that look like they could take flight. She was mopping the floor. Mopping. And for a second, I thought my brain short-circuited. She looked up, made eye contact, gave me that don't make eye contact with the cleaning staff kind of glance. But here's the kicker, she didn't recognize me. I stood there, frozen, as my inner 16-year-old did a victory dance. But also, my adult self felt weird. Like I wasn't sure if I wanted to gloat or offer her a glass of water. I didn't do either. I just walked past her, locked myself in a stall, and sat there staring at the wall, my heart racing like I'd just run a marathon. Except the only thing I'd done was see my old bully scrubbing a corporate bathroom. I left without saying a word. I told myself I'd imagined it, that I was misremembering her face. Spoiler, I wasn't. And that image? Vanessa, mop in hand? It haunted me. For weeks. Here's the thing about unexpected moments, they don't just pass. They linger. They fester. Like that song you hate but somehow know every word to. After I saw Vanessa Green, the same Vanessa who once told the whole lunchroom I got my clothes from the charity bin, mopping the restroom floor of my building, I couldn't unsee it. She didn't recognize me, sure, but I knew exactly who she was. And my brain? Oh, she decided this would be her new favorite fixation. It's funny how trauma works. You think you've moved on, leveled up, built the life you always wanted, but one flicker of the past, and you're back there. Back in your thrift store sweater, praying no one notices the hole in the sleeve. I tried to shake it. Swear to God, I did. But every day, Walking past that elevator, I found myself wondering, was that really her? Or did I hallucinate Vanessa Green into existence? I even Googled her. Don't judge. We've all done a social media deep dive we're not proud of. Her Instagram? Still full of carefully curated delusion. Throwback photos from Paris, circa 2018, judging by the Eiffel Tower construction. Winter trips to the Alps, which, judging by the filter, were probably stock photos. But there was nothing recent. No tagged posts. No new job announcements. No happy anniversary selfies with her businessman husband. It was weird. And that little voice in my head, equal parts nosy and vindictive, started whispering. Something happened. But like the responsible adult I am, I buried myself back in work. Deadlines don't care about high school drama. I figured I'd never see her again. Oh, how naive I was. Fast forward a few weeks. I'm heading into the office early. Too much caffeine and too little sleep. And who do I see pushing a cleaning cart on my floor? Yep, Vanessa. Same overdone makeup. Same knockoff designer blouse. Still walking like she owned the place, except this time, she was scrubbing windows. And get this, she was being rude to my team. One of my newer hires, sweet kid named Marcus, was at his desk when Vanessa barked at him to move so she could clean. Not a please. Not a thank you. Just pure, undiluted Vanessa energy. Old habits die hard, I guess. That's when something inside me snapped. Because you can call me whatever you want, but you don't talk down to my team. I walked over, heels clicking like punctuation marks, and said, "Hey, Vanessa, could I have a word?" Her head jerked up, that same haughty expression she used back in school plastered across her face. But you know what? She didn't recognize me. Again. She narrowed her eyes, trying to place me, but clearly couldn't. "I'd appreciate it if you spoke to my team with a little more respect," I said, keeping my voice calm, professional. "Not because they're better than you, but because they're people. And we treat people well here." She opened her mouth like she was about to argue, but right then, one of my interns walked by and called out, "Miss Hartley, the report's ready." Vanessa's face. Oh my God. If I could bottle that expression, the dawning realization, the flicker of recognition, the full-body shock, I'd be a millionaire. Her mouth opened, closed, then opened again like a fish out of water. "Elena," she croaked, her voice barely above a whisper. I smiled. Not smug, not cruel, just calm. "Good to see you again, Vanessa." So, yeah, that moment, the one where Vanessa finally connected the dots and realized who I was? Chef's kiss. I could have walked away right then. Called it even. Life had done the heavy lifting for me, right? But nope. Something deeper stirred in me. Not the "I want her to suffer" kind of revenge. Okay, maybe just a little. More like the "I need to know everything" kind. Because when the universe hands you a plot twist like this, you don't just close the book. So I stood there, letting her process the fact that Elena Hartley, the ugly duckling, the charity case disgrace to the school, was now the boss of the floor she cleaned. "Wow," she finally said, blinking like the fluorescent lights were too bright. "I didn't realize that I wasn't dead in a ditch? That I wasn't, as you so eloquently put it, cleaning toilets somewhere?" I let the silence stretch. I wanted to see what she'd fill it with. "I mean, it's been so long," she stammered, smoothing down the hem of her blouse like that would somehow restore her dignity. "You look different." Translation: I look successful now. And it's messing with her entire worldview. "Thanks," I said with a smile that didn't quite reach my eyes. I guess life worked out okay for me. And then I walked away. Because I'd read somewhere that leaving someone stewing in their own discomfort is way more effective than any mic drop. But here's the thing, I couldn't let it go. I needed to know how Vanessa Green went from jet-setting Instagram influencer to scrubbing office windows. So, like the millennial detective I am, I did what any self-respecting woman would do. I stalked her online. Hard. Except, there wasn't much to stalk. Her Instagram was still all throwbacks and curated perfection, ski trips from 3 years ago, wine tastings from 2 years ago. But nothing recent. Nothing real. Her LinkedIn? A ghost town. The last job listed was stay-at-home wife. Not a dig, just facts. But then I found the article. Buried in the local business news section, because karma doesn't always make front-page headlines. Her husband, Gregory Green, the local businessman she married straight out of college, his company went bankrupt. Bad investments. Lawsuits. A messy collapse that left them with, apparently, nothing but a mountain of debt and an empty McMansion. And there was a tiny detail that made me pause. Gregory Green divorced Vanessa 2 months after the bankruptcy filing. Left her high and dry. No prenup, but no assets either. Just bills. Suddenly, the puzzle pieces snapped into place. That's why she was clinging to the illusion on social media. That's why she was cleaning offices in a cheap blouse that wanted so badly to be Chanel. I sat back in my chair, fingers tented like some villain in a spy movie, and thought, do I feel bad for her? Honestly? A little. But also? Hell no. This woman made my life miserable for 4 years. Mocked my clothes, my family's poverty, my very existence. She once told me I'd never amount to anything, while she coasted on daddy's money and pretty privilege. And now? She was in my world. On my floor. I should have left it there. Should have taken the win, smiled to myself, and moved on. But something deeper, messier, angrier whispered, nah, we're not done yet. I wish I could tell you I was the bigger person. That after discovering Vanessa's fall from grace, I took the moral high ground and focused on my gratitude journal or aligned my chakras or whatever it is enlightened people do. But nah. Instead, I lay awake at night imagining every possible scenario where I got the last word. Some of them involved a megaphone and glitter cannons. I'm not proud. See, it wasn't just about Vanessa Green anymore. It was about 16-year-old me. The girl who used to fake stomach aches to avoid pee because Vanessa would accidentally bump into me hard enough to spill my water bottle. The girl who missed homecoming because I couldn't handle the stares, the whispers. Now, that girl was the boss. And Vanessa? She wasn't even a pawn. She was the person cleaning up after the game was over. But here's the thing, I didn't want to humiliate her. I wanted her to understand. I wanted her to feel it, the shift in the universe. Because if there's one thing bullies hate, it's losing power. And Vanessa? She had spent her whole life feeding on it. So I waited. I watched. I let her pretend like nothing had happened. She kept her head down after that hallway encounter, barely glanced my way when she was on my floor. But every time she walked past my office, I saw the flicker of something in her eyes. Recognition? Resentment? I couldn't tell. But I knew it wasn't over. And then, fate handed me the perfect opportunity on a platinum-plated platter. We were hosting a corporate event, one of those fancy networking mixers where everyone drinks mediocre wine and pretends they're having a good time. As the manager, I was expected to give a little speech. Nothing major, just the usual rah-rah teamwork nonsense. But I had other plans. No, I wasn't going to call Vanessa out by name. I'm petty, not reckless. But I could tell my story. Our story. The night of the event, I stood there in my favorite power suit, navy blue, sharp enough to cut glass, and stared out at the crowd. My team, other managers, executives, and Vanessa, standing awkwardly at the back, clutching her cleaning supplies like they were a shield. I took a deep breath, smiled, and I began. When I was 16, I said, my voice steady, I was told I'd never make it. I was poor, wore second-hand clothes, lived in a neighborhood people avoided after dark. A few heads turned, eyebrows raised. There was this girl at my school, I continued, keeping my eyes forward. She made sure I never forgot where I came from. Every insult, every whisper behind my back reminded me I wasn't enough. I felt Vanessa's gaze, burning from the back of the room. But here's the thing, I said, letting the pause hang. She was right about where I came from. But she was wrong about where I was going. A ripple went through the room. I let it settle. Today, I manage a team of brilliant people. I work in a company that values growth, resilience, and kindness. And I'm here because I didn't let that girl define me. I smiled, genuinely now. Success is the best revenge. But the real victory? Becoming someone you're proud of. The room applauded. It wasn't the Oscars, but it felt damn good. I glanced toward the back, and there she was. Vanessa, frozen in place. Face pale. Eyes wide. She knew. Oh, she knew. After my little speech, which, by the way, got rave reviews from the higher-ups, thank you very much, I expected Vanessa to avoid me like the plague. And she did. For about a week. She scurried past my office like I was radioactive, eyes glued to the floor. But you know what they say about bullies? They don't go down without a fight. One morning, I caught her snapping at one of our interns again. Poor Mia had dropped a coffee stirrer, and Vanessa barked at her like she'd smashed a priceless vase. So I did what any mature, professional woman would do. I walked right over. Morning, Vanessa, I said, all saccharine sweet. Can we chat for a second? Her spine stiffened like I'd electrocuted it. I couldn't help but notice how you spoke to Mia just now, I continued. We have a people-first policy here. It applies to everyone. Cleaning staff included. She bristled. I could see the old Vanessa itching to snap back. But now? She was cleaning floors, and I was the one setting policies. I was just doing my job, she muttered. I respect that, I said, smiling like I was awarding her Employee of the Month. But doing your job doesn't mean disrespecting mine or my team. I leaned in just a bit closer, enough that she had to meet my eyes. You understand, right? She nodded. But that flicker of hate in her eyes? Yeah. I could have toasted marshmallows over it. I walked away, heels clicking like a victory march. But here's the twist. I wasn't just out for blood. I wanted to see if she'd change. Call me soft, but some part of me wondered if maybe, Vanessa could learn something from all this. Grow. Evolve. Like one of those self-help book stories where the villain turns mentor. Spoiler. She didn't. The passive-aggressive comments started. Little digs as she cleaned. Mutters under her breath. Once, I overheard her joking with another janitor that I probably slept my way to the top. Classic Vanessa. And that was the final nail. If she just owned it, just once said, hey, Elena, I was a terrible person back then, hell, if she'd even nodded at me in passing without the dagger eyes, I might have let it go. But no. Vanessa Green? She didn't do humble. So I decided if she wasn't going to grow, I'd make damn sure she wilted. Here's the thing about people like Vanessa Green, they believe the world owes them something. They think they're untouchable, even when life's already dragged them through the mud. They dust themselves off and pretend the stains are designer. And Vanessa? She was clinging to those last shreds of superiority like they were a Hermes scarf. But I'm a patient woman. I didn't have to raise my voice. I didn't have to stoop to her level. I just had to let her show herself. And oh boy, did she deliver. It started small, her little snarky side comments. I could have shut them down, sure. But instead, I waited. I let the interns overhear. I let my team feel it. And the best part? I documented everything. Every passive-aggressive jab. Every rolled eye. Every time she made a young employee feel like garbage. Screenshots. Notes. Dates. Times. Because revenge isn't always about fireworks. Sometimes it's about filing the paperwork perfectly. Now here's where fate, that sassy little minx, decided to sprinkle some seasoning on this dish. We had a high-profile client tour scheduled. Big wigs. Investors. The kind of folks who could make or break an entire quarter. Everyone on high alert, suits pressed, smiles rehearsed. And Vanessa? She was cleaning up on our floor again. I spotted her as I was doing my final walkthrough. Still wearing that fake designer blouse like it was armor. Still glaring daggers at my team like we were inconveniencing her. So I paused, and I gave her a task. Vanessa, I said, my voice smooth as the silk she wished she was wearing. We've got clients coming through. I need these windows spotless. It's an important day. Her jaw clenched. I know how to do my job. Of course you do, I said, adding a warm smile just to twist the knife. I'm sure you'll do it beautifully. She practically snarled. And as I walked away, I saw Mia, the intern, watching. Her eyes wide. Curious. I winked at her. Not the I'm about to start some trouble wink. Okay, maybe exactly that wink. The client tour began. Everything was perfect. My team shone like the rock stars they are. We moved through the floor. I was mid-presentation, and then it happened. One of the clients, gesturing to the sparkling windows, smiled and asked, "Who's responsible for keeping this place so immaculate?" Cue Mia the intern, bless her little chaotic soul, piping up, clear as a bell. That's Vanessa. She's incredible at cleaning floors and windows. And she's actually an alum from the same high school as Miss Hartley. Crazy, right? Silence. Every head turned, including Vanessa's. Her face? A shade of red I didn't know existed. The clients glanced between us, me in my tailored suit, Vanessa clutching her squeegee like it was a lifeline. I smiled, cool as a cucumber. She was a year ahead of me, I said smoothly. Small world, isn't it? The clients laughed politely and moved on, none the wiser. But Vanessa? She knew exactly what just happened. I didn't need to say a word. Everyone in that room could feel the shift. Power? It's not always loud. Sometimes, it's a well-placed intern and a perfectly timed compliment. After Mia's perfectly timed bombshell, seriously, I owe that girl a coffee card for life. Vanessa couldn't look me in the eye for days. I mean, I'd tried to give her the benefit of the doubt before. Tried to believe maybe life had humbled her. But nah, Vanessa Green? She was clinging to her delusions like a toddler with a security blanket. And now? Everyone knew we had history. I didn't even need to explain. It was written in every tense glance Vanessa shot me, every time she pretended I wasn't standing right there. But it wasn't enough. Not yet. See the old Vanessa? She thrived on being seen, being admired. She was the queen bee, the untouchable. And even now, cleaning floors, she was trying to hold on to that last scrap of dignity. That illusion that she was still better than me. So, I decided to do the one thing she couldn't handle. I saw her. Every time she was on my floor, I greeted her warmly. Good morning, Vanessa. How's your day going, Vanessa? Need anything, Vanessa? I was polite, professional, friendly, even. And it killed her. She started flinching every time I spoke. Like kindness was the sharpest weapon in my arsenal. Spoiler, it was. But karma? She wasn't done yet. One afternoon, I walked into the break room and overheard Vanessa on her phone. She didn't see me, too busy snapping at whoever was on the other end. I don't care if the payment's late, just give me a few more days. I'm working, aren't I? Pause. I said I'm good for it. You think I like doing this? There was a tremble in her voice I hadn't heard before. Fear. And for the first time, I felt something unexpected. Pity. I mean, yeah, she'd made my teenage life hell, but hearing her, begging for mercy from whoever was on the line, that hit different. I turned to leave quietly, but then she spotted me. Her eyes widened, wild. She slammed her phone down. Listening in now, are you? She snapped. I raised an eyebrow, calm as ever. It's a shared space, Vanessa. She stood, fists clenched. You think you're better than me? And there it was, the crack in the crown. The slip beneath the surface. I smiled softly. Vanessa, I am better than you. Not in a moral superiority way. Not in a climb the ladder kind of way. Just the truth. Because I'd built this life. From the ground up. While she clung to the wreckage of her old one. And I walked out leaving her in that break room. Shaking, stewing. But my heart? It wasn't racing anymore. Because for the first time, I didn't need revenge. I had closure. Or so I thought. I thought that was it. I really did. After that showdown in the break room, after I left Vanessa Green standing there with her fists clenched and her pride in tatters, I felt something I hadn't felt in a long time. Peace. I thought the story was over. But like every good saga, there was one more chapter. A few weeks later, I got an unexpected email from HR. Subject line: Personnel concern, request for feedback. Vanessa's cleaning contract was under review. Turns out my team had been filing complaints. Nothing malicious, just facts. The way she snapped at them. The way she hovered, muttering under her breath. Little things that added up. The HR rep asked for my opinion. And let me tell you, the old me, the 16-year-old me, wanted to unleash hell. Write a scathing review. Bury her. But the 30-year-old me? I paused. Because Vanessa was already drowning. And maybe I wasn't the villain here, but I didn't want to become one. So, I wrote the truth. She's struggling. But maybe what she needs isn't punishment, it's support. I hit send, feeling weirdly light. I figured that was the last I'd hear. That Vanessa would either shape up or move on. But a week later, fate came knocking again. I was headed out of the building late one evening when I saw her. Vanessa, sitting on the steps outside, smoking a cigarette like she was trying to burn the world down one puff at a time. I almost walked past. But something, curiosity, pity, closure, made me stop. You okay? I asked. She laughed. Bitter. Careful, Elena. You're sounding like you care. I shrugged. Maybe I do. She flicked ash onto the pavement. HR's cutting my hours. Said it's not working out. I nodded. You gonna be okay? Another bitter laugh. I'll survive. I always do. But then, she looked up at me. And the mask dropped. Do you ever feel like you're stuck? Like you're living in the ruins of your own life? Her voice cracked. Just a little. And for the first time, she wasn't the queen bee. She was just a person. Flawed. Broken. I sat down beside her. Not to gloat. Not to win. Just to be there. You made my life hell in high school, I said softly. I know, she whispered. I was awful. Silence. But you didn't deserve this, I added. She looked at me, surprised. No? Because I kind of feel like I did. And there it was, the real twist. Vanessa wasn't just falling. She'd already hit the ground. She stubbed out her cigarette and stood up. I'll figure it out, she said, like a promise to herself more than me. And as she walked away, I realized something. I didn't need her to suffer. I didn't need to see her beg. I'd already won. Because success? It wasn't just the office or the salary or the skyline view. It was knowing that I didn't have to become like her. It's funny, isn't it? I spent so much of my life thinking revenge would feel like fire, like this wild, raging thing that would burn away the hurt. I imagined slamming doors, mic drops, the kind of movie scene where you walk away in slow motion while the world explodes behind you. But the real thing? It felt like peace. A few months after that night on the steps, Vanessa was gone. Her cleaning contract quietly ended, her social media wiped clean of the curated lies. The queen bee finally left the building. No dramatic exit. No flaming bridge. Just silence. And me? I kept going. My projects kept thriving. My team kept growing. The office stayed spotless, not because Vanessa was scrubbing it, but because I'd scrubbed her from my mind. But every now and then, when I'm standing at my window, coffee in hand, city stretching out below me, I think about her. About Vanessa Green. I wonder if she ever thinks about me. About who I became. Because I know who she was. The girl who needed to put others down to feel tall. The woman who couldn't imagine a world where someone like me, poor, awkward, invisible, could ever win. But I did. And the best part? I didn't have to destroy her to do it. I built my life. I climbed, step by step, while she coasted until there was nothing left to hold her up. It wasn't revenge in the way I once dreamed. It was better. The next time someone asks me about my greatest achievement, I'll smile. I'll talk about the team I've built, the projects that have made waves in our industry. But in my heart, I'll know. The greatest achievement was choosing grace over grudges. Vanessa Green mopped my floors. But I cleaned house. I leaned back in my chair, sunlight pouring through the glass. And for the first time in my life, I was free.